The government of Vietnam has approved the National Strategy on Climate in December 2011 and subsequently adopted the National Action Plan in October 2012. For the successful implementation of the national strategy, activities should be conducted in the local levels. A green and sustainable urban is what many cities and provinces in Vietnam want to achieve, but how?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Sharing Vietnam on VTC10 Net Viet. Green growth strategies and urban development are the two main topics that go coupled with each other in helping a sustainable development of any nations, and Vietnam is not an exception outside of that trend. Now, in that discussions today, we will share our thoughts and efforts from the French agencies in terms of their support for the Vietnamese government in helping us to fine-tune our sustainable development strategies of our country. Now we shall welcome Mr. Jean-Claude, and he will share more with us in our topic today. Thank you, Mr. Jean-Claude, so much for joining Sharing Vietnam today. First of all, we know that AFD have helped Vietnam supporting various projects in terms of climate change. So can you share with us the value of this objective in AFD's operation in Vietnam, as well as some of the specific projects?
First of all, you know, AFD, the French Development Agency, is, as the name indicates, we are the French Development Bank. And as such, our mandate is to finance socio-economic development projects. In concrete terms, for AFD, the response to climate change is becoming a global objective in all the countries where we operate. And we have now specific targets on the amount of financial assistance that we allocate to development projects with climate co-benefits. We are committed in Asia, for example, to provide 70% of our financial assistance to climate projects. So in concrete terms, in Vietnam, what does that mean? We are financing, first of all, very concrete investment projects which either help to reduce the emission of gases in areas like renewable energy, hydropower, for example, or in urban transport. We are one of the financiers of one of the metro lines in Hanoi, which will reduce pollution, etc. On the adaptation side, we are financing a lot of irrigation projects, flood protection projects, and projects developing the agriculture in the mountainous areas. You know, so these are for the projects. On top of this, we have been supporting the government of Vietnam since now 2008 within a program which is called the SPRCC, the Support Program in Response to Climate Change. This is a huge national program now joined by many other development partners like Japan, the World Bank, Australia, etc. The purpose of this program is to support the government of Vietnam to do some policy reforms, to set up some legal frameworks to promote the response to climate change and to promote energy efficiency, renewable energies, etc.
So can you share with us some specific figures that shows the initial effects that these projects have brought to Vietnam and its provinces?
Since 2006, all the projects that we have financed in Vietnam will help Vietnam in the next 20 years to reduce greenhouse gas emissions by more than 1 million tons of carbon per year. Regarding adaptation projects, of course, this is more difficult to quantify, but what we can say is that hundreds of millions of Vietnamese citizens are benefiting from projects in irrigation schemes, flood protection dikes, etc.
One of the highlighted activities is the events that AFD and the Asia Center has held today, and now it's about climate change, it's about urban development. So can you share with us some of the things that you will be discussed about?
Well, first of all, this event is part of our effort to communicate about our activities in Vietnam. We are using some documentaries, some small movies to illustrate either the causes of climate change in the cities and the consequences. And the idea is to be able to answer questions raised by the public and to explain clearly that, of course, the problems are here, but there are also solutions. And what we are doing in supporting the government of Vietnam, the provinces and the cities are part of the solution. So it's really part of our effort to raise awareness and to communicate and to disclose information about our operations together with the government of Vietnam in this regard.
Now we would like to invite all of our viewers to take a look at what's going on during this event and discussions.
Is home to half of the world's population and the majority of economic activity. Cities consume a lot of energy and the emissions of greenhouse gases is very large. The importance of urban development that respects the environment were the main leaders of the countries of the Southern Hemispheres widely acknowledged. However, the people of this country still faced the urgent social needs are jobs and housing. Therefore, the issues of climate and environment, even often local leaders considered secondary. On November 13, 2014, AFD, in cooperation with Asia Center, organized a workshop named the National Strategy for Climate Change, Challenge or Opportunities. At the workshop, representatives from AFD and Asia Center and other representatives from the science community of Vietnam discussed on the challenges and also opportunities that big cities like Hanoi have to face on their way of development.
Nếu quản lý tốt cái vấn đề phát thải khí nhà kính ở đô thị thì rõ ràng là một cái đóng góp rất lớn đối với lượng giảm phát thải khí nhà kính nói chung của một khu vực cũng như một quốc gia. Vì vậy, làm thế nào học hỏi được những cái kinh nghiệm của các nước, trong đó nước Cộng hòa Pháp đã thể hiện, đã triển khai thành công ở thành phố Nan là một cái điều mà các nhà quản lý phía Việt Nam rất đáng quan tâm và học tập.
So we know that a green and a sustainable city is a wish that any provinces in Vietnam or in any nation would want to achieve. So can you share with us what are the methods that Vietnam can do and each province can adopt in to help to achieve this objective?
You know, this climate change issue is now becoming very serious. And in fact, the economic development, if it goes as usual, will bring a lot of difficulties. The cities will suffer a lot from sea level rise, from very strong typhoons. The cities will grow, but will soon become unlivable because of pollution, because of congestion. So the question is more what kind of economic development can be good, you know, in the future and can take into account this dimension of climate change. The good news is that there is new development models to make sure that we can balance economic growth, social inclusion, and also, I would say, environmental protection and adaptation to this climate change. This is basically what we are supporting in Vietnam in other countries, and this is also what Vietnam is intending to do. In Vietnam, this is called the Green Growth Strategy. It's a new economic development model which make Vietnam more resistant to the impact of climate change, but also which make Vietnam a contributor to the reduction of the emissions. This will help Vietnam to become also less dependent on imports from fossil fuels, etc.
now reflect on the successful models that have been implementing successful green growth strategies like cities in France, for example. Can you share with us some of the skills that required as well as some of the financial sponsorship that are needed to put forward these projects?
Part of this event tonight, we will show one example of a French city who has since about 10 years who has tried to develop this new economic model, growing green cities. It clearly indicates that the technical solutions are available. Some people may say that it's a huge cost, but in fact it's not a cost, it's an investment for the future. So the technical solutions exist. The financial assistance is also available from international community. What is needed primarily is a political will, to change things, because in fact the private investors, the foreign assistance will come only when the legal framework will be ready for basically in cities addressing three major issues on the buildings, energy efficiency in buildings, public transport, and also the urban development has to be thought from the beginning so that the city is becoming more compact.
And lastly, we know that in the upcoming month there will be an international summit that are held in France, also about climate change. So can you share with us what are the things that Vietnam can learn and gain from such international conferences?
Regarding the conference in Paris in 2015, this is part of the United Nations effort. France will host this very important summit where everybody is expecting that a new agreement, a new ambitious agreement will be found by all countries regarding the response to climate change. So what is expected is that all countries will, first of all, bring their contribution, and we hope that through negotiation a new world agreement will be reached in December 2015 in Paris. Vietnam is now getting prepared for this summit and is actively preparing its contribution. So definitely Vietnam has to learn a lot from international experience, and again is already learning a lot and participating a lot to this effort in international conferences.
And thank you, Mr. Jean-Claude, so much for your sharing today, and I hope that you will continue all of your projects here in Vietnam that including climate change issues. And that's the end of Sharing Vietnam today. I hope that from watching this program, you can also answer the questions of our topic today, climate change strategies, an opportunity or obstacles, that for you to answer. Any questions and recommendation, please email at sharingvietnam@netvittv.net. Thank you and see you again.